Recording in progress. I'm Christopher Luna. I founded the Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic in 2004. Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic is an all ages and uncensored LGBTQ plus friendly pro-science and anti-fascist reading. Proudly so for all that time. We are also really happy to be on Zoom for the time being because we need to be, and that allows us to have friends from all over the country join us, and sometimes outside of the country as well. I'll be emceeing tonight with Morgan Paige, and our featured reader is Leah Mueller. When the reading is complete, it will be available soon enough on YouTube. So look out for that. Let's see. I really encourage people to hoot and holler and applaud and make a lot of noise after you hear from a poet. And of course, it'd be better to mute yourself while someone is reading. It's really weird to read a poem and then have that deathly silence afterwards. So please, let these poets know that you're enjoying what they're doing. And then very quickly hit the mute button again. And what else do we want you to know? We want you to know that everyone's asked to read one poem for approximately 3 minutes, but we're not looking at a stopwatch. The idea with the one poem thing is we're all spending a lot of time on computers and on Zoom, and we want to, not tax anyone too much, not have the thing go on too long. When we're able to return to in-person readings, Ghost Town will return to being a 3-hour plus reading, but I'm not going to do that to anybody sitting in front of their computer. That's not cool. So the other thing is we have the chat function. Please feel free at any point in the evening to put links to books and websites, community events, things that are happening that you want people to know about. And I really recommend that people do that more than once, because there will be a lot of stuff in the chat once we get going. And so if you want people to have more than one chance, you can give them more than one chance. And then a few days after the reading happens, I usually send out a follow-up email with all of those links. So if you miss any of them, you'll have a second chance to catch up with these great poets that you're going to hear from. Morgan, anything that you would like to add before I start to introduce some readers here?
Nope, I think you covered it. Just excited to hear from everybody tonight and excited for our feature. Leah.
Okay. I did think of one more thing, but I could say it very quickly. If you haven't been on Zoom before, or if you have, there are different views. If you use the speaker view, you'll see whoever is speaking at the moment, they will fill your screen. If you use the grid view, you're going to see everybody at the same time. So you may find it easier to just leave it on that speaker view. There'll always be a way to toggle back and forth, but that's just a little bit of advice for you. Welcome to Denise. Glad that you're here. And I'm going to get things going. Our first open mic reader for this evening is Michaela Gallup. Welcome, Michaela. Glad that you were able to be at Ghost Town.
All right. Candlelight Boy. Candlelight boy, can you drip down my wrists, paint my knuckles in honey I pull from your lips, coat your feathers in gold from the shaft to the tip, fly away when the sun starts to shine through your ribs. Candlelight boy, warm my palms with your need, sign your name on my back till your fingernails bleed, tie a thread to my ankle you cut with your teeth. If we don't play at heroes, it's not tragedy. Candlelight boy, mark the time on your throat, wind the salt and the soot through your hair like a rope, lash your hands to the mirror, we'll wreck on the stones, give the oracle's murmurs a lesson in moans. Candlelight boy, taste the stars on your skin, trace a map with my mouth to the truth of your hips, I'll swallow you whole till you choke on your myths, call this constellation, the wax and the wick. Candlelight boy, brush my cheek when you leave, caught a glimpse of your smile in the dawn or a dream, how godlike to gild even grasshopper wings, how human to hallow these flammable things.
Thank you, Michaela. That was awesome.
Wow. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Agreed.
Wow. Really interesting. Really, really cool.
Jim Martin, are you here? You ready to read something to us? I thought I just saw his name. I hope Jim is here. Can you hear me, Jim? Let me see. I think,
Yep, I see him.
okay, he's connecting to his audio. Let's give him a second to do that. If you can hear us, Jim, we're holding on for you because you're up next. Well, I see the little dots. Follow the bouncing dots until Jim is ready to read. Jim, can you unmute yourself? Right now I can see you, but I can't hear you. So try unmuting yourself on the whichever device is showing us your face so we can hear you. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening with Jim.
I can't see him either.
Okay, so Morgan and I will chat with Jim and we will try to bring him in a little bit later. That may give him some time to get it together. I'm going to call then on Bruce Hall. He's the next on our list. Bruce, love to hear one of your poems.
Hey, this is an older one. I've read it at Ghost Town before, but in light of recent events, I thought it was time to do it again. How to get to Mars. 1, build a rocket ship. A really, really, really big rocket ship. 2, pack the rocket ship with all the stuff on the NASCAR website for a trip to Mars. 3, pack the rocket ship with all the stuff you'll need for a long trip that is not on the NASA website. Legos, comic books, whiskey, Cheetos, and pornography. 4, get that really fast kid down the street. You know the one. You're sure he's a future arsonist. He'll light the fuse and run. 5, pack an extra spacesuit. You don't know how your body fluids will react to the tremendous G-forces or zero gravity. 6, be very careful around asteroids. How can you trust anything that has roid, turd, and ass in its name? 7, be very careful where you land. Just like on Earth, location, location, location. You don't want to be in a bad Martian neighborhood. And most important, 8, purchase volume 2 of this series, How to Return from Mars, scheduled to be published next fall by Rocket Ship Express Printing, available in ebook and a limited print edition.
Thank you.
That's funny.
I'd like to give Jim another chance here. Jim, do you want to give it a try?
Can you hear me yet?
Yes, we can hear you.
That was Barry.
Okay. It could, my problem could be that it's very warm in the room that I'm in, and it's saying that the computer's having a hard time keeping up. Okay, I'll read from Barry's blank spot. Can you still hear?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Does choreography think? How do thoughts cascade, flow, tumble, turn back on themselves, add, accumulate parts? Some, music, color, dance, art, speak to us, move into our minds. Others, words, the color black, remain where they are. We move to them, interpret, place them into our mind. Music, dance, art, cascade, build on themselves. What can they create? And that's it.
Thanks, Jim.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Jim. Now we're going to call it to the stage, the Zoom stage, excuse me, Cindy Chatham. Cindy, welcome to Ghost Town.
Oh, thank you. Just a second. This is a really new poem and I'm hesitant to read it, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's called The Meeting. There should have been thunder crashing at our feet. There should have flashed a blazing silver bolt as this moment froze dusk at Presida Park Cafe. Introduced, our eyes sought first view, our voices remained mute. Transfixed, we traveled into each other's eyes while time stopped. There was a familiar knowing. When forced to move apart, we managed hellos. I watched you sing and play guitar, your voice exciting me, your glances drawing me in and making me yours. We were connected, enmeshed, but neither of us free. Afterwards, I sought everywhere for news of your singing, playing guitar, reading poetry. Each time, another thrill of anticipation. I soon learned you had a young daughter, Penelope. I made her a brown teddy bear with ear bell and pink Christmas bow. In a private encounter, you thanked me again for that kindness. In spite of other obligations, we managed to run into each other. You possessed my thoughts. You were a flame in my heart. I was sure we had a past life history. You knew it too. One day, when I wanted so much to see you, I drove down 24th Street in the Mission, went into a nondescript bar named Jack's, a place I didn't know. A strong need and intense desire drove me, and there you were, sitting at a slow afternoon bar, sipping a beer. You came to me and sat us down at a table. You put quarters in the jukebox and waltzed me around for the first and only time. It was a dream we were in. In a North Beach venue where I watched your poetry reading when sparks had flown between our eyes, where you had admired the tiny blue flowered sundress I had recently sewn in cotton secretly just for you. In this place, another night, having become a small dim theater, I climbed a short set of side steps onto the dark stage, sat on the side in shadow, not watching the movie. I was hiding alone with my obsession. It was more than a weed high, expanding in a place beyond, immersed in a higher realm. I focused my mind, uplifted, seeking and enjoining you to come. Elated but not surprised to find you there. Our auras danced around, circling in and out, pulsing, playing, our colors blazing, merging, craving a union of souls. We became one together, swirling in an elevated, joining dance, slow, then fast, fiery, passionate, exploding into an orgasm of a higher consciousness, never experienced before or since. Today, years later, the dream of you is gone, but the feelings linger, emerge when I hear a cowboy waltz. That's it. Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful, Cindy. Thank you so much. Wow.
Oh, thank you, Morgan.
Captivating. I think we've all felt that.
I hope so.
It's a good feeling. Next, I'd love to introduce Natasha Kurd. Natasha, what's up?
Hi. Can everybody
Hi.
hear me okay? Cool.
Yep.
This one's called The Gray Dream. Hovering clouds suffocating the life below them. Floating just out of reach, they envelop and permeate. The definition of intangibility, they hide even shadows. Without shadows, the markers of form, perception loses its reality. Without the sun, moon, and stars, the markers of time, hours slip into days, weeks, months, years even, while leaving you unsure of how long it's truly been. How long can one walk through such a dream state, in an untouchable reality, before desperately trying to wake? In the land of wakefulness, there are trees and their shadows, stars dancing across the sky, the smell of bacon frying and coffee brewing. There is actuality and potential. In this drizzly gray dream, I am stuck. I want to wake up. I want to defy the suffocating clouds. I want to see shadows and time and let neither pass me by.
Thank you so much, Natasha. That was beautiful. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Edith Blackbird. Edith, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Sorry for the tardiness. Thank you, everybody. This is a poem that is kind of short, but this is a celebration for all of us biological women that have or used to have a period. I'm sorry, that's not the right word in Spanish, in English, I'm sorry. But we can celebrate the blood moon cycle with everybody. So this is about that. Can you please let me know you can hear the music? And also my voice at the same time? Let me know you can hear that, please. Yes? Okay. Let's go into this. This is called Tears of the Womb. Dropping the elixir of life between my legs in the name of womanhood. Spells of goddess flow, 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 come from the divine vibration of my fleshy ovaries, left and right, created to paint my inner self in red. I am the true lady in red. Báñame, báñame, luna roja. Tears of the womb bless the ground underneath, align with my sovereign priestess upon my cervix. The sickle creators, hormones and runaway eggs, run away. This is my pain offered to my lost childhood. My lost childhood, only seen by secret shadows and wailing and wailing and wailing. I am the true weeping woman. Ay, mis hijos. This is my moment of devotion, celebrated by Mother Universe. This is my utter sacrifice, the only moment where life and death bow to a mortal being. I am the true bleeding saint. Thank you so much.
We love you, Edith.
Absolutely loved it, Edith. Wow. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing that to us tonight. That's, yeah. Normalize bleeding. Thank you. And make it more beautiful, Edith. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, yes, and next I'm so excited to introduce our feature for the evening, Leah Mueller. Leah Mueller is an indie writer and spoken word performer from Bisbee, Arizona. Her most recent books, Misguided Behavior, Tales of Poor Life Choices, Death and Heartbreak, and Cocktails at Denny's, were released in 2019. Her latest chapbook is Land of Eternal Thirst. Leah's work appears in Rattle, Midway Journal, Citron Review, The Spectacle, Miracle Monocle, Outlook Springs, Atticus Review, Your Impossible Voice, and elsewhere. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Leah Mueller.
Thanks, and I'm even unmuted in anticipation. So I thought I'd get like a couple of the funny poems out of the way before I go into the depressing shit. So I'm going to start with the poem that I actually had published in Rattle in June. And you'll probably recognize who it's about. So I'm going to just launch right into it. It's called Lost in Space for Jeff. In space, no one can hear you ask, do you have a Prime account at Whole Foods? Nor can they offer free shipping with a 30-day trial membership. The Washington Post, with its endless chatter of neoliberal propaganda, fades into distant memory. Just you, with your fishbowl helmet, framing your baldness like a translucent crown. Fly into the outer reaches of the galaxy, colonize Mars into an enormous warehouse. No one will clock in late for their graveyard shift. You won't need to count the days before your dividends arrive, that final billion-dollar deposit, until you explode into a magnificent supernova, molecules scattering their alms to a plundered and impoverished cosmos. Somewhere, a woman orders underwear from a small online company. Somewhere, a programmer finds discount software at the last Radio Shack. You are oblivious space dust, particles floating like dollar bills through the galaxies, one for each remaining star. Yeah, I guess you can guess who that's about. My next poem is inspired by a road trip I recently took from Los Angeles to Chicago on Route 66. It was a dream of mine for a very long time. And so I'm just starting to distill the energy and write some poems about it. So this is about a place that actually exists called Shamrock, Texas. Nothing Irish about Shamrock, Texas. Home of the Blarney Inn. Elderly Indian couple takes my cash, hands over the room key. Each night, they fall asleep on mattresses behind the desk and then rise early to illuminate the welcome sign. Outside, a red cowboy boot stands against the highway, propped beside an abandoned steakhouse. Hard to believe there's no market for steak in the Panhandle, since the region's name implies frying cheap meat in oceans of grease. The overhead sign retains its garishness, conjuring cheerful images of blood. Cows now long digested, neighbors forced indoors, awkwardly broiling their own burgers. But oh, the boot. Its outlines bold against the weeds, recalling scores of meals. Texas families who demanded countless glasses of water, left dollar tips, and then returned to right-wing television. Not a shamrock in sight. Hope closed down, decommissioned like the highway. Go ahead, try your luck. Comb the brush for that mutant clover. Examine the boot heel's shadow. Scan the edge of the parking lot. Like a solitary boot, I stand proud and ridiculous. Closed to customers, yet upright, waiting for new ones to arrive. All right, thank you. Prior to this whole Route 66 thing and everything that's been going on in my life, I lost my husband. People like to use the phrase passed away. I'm just going to say he died. He died 3 months ago. And prior to his transition, his death, I wrote this poem, which appeared on Silver Birch Press, their wonderful website. Big plug for Silver Birch Press. It's called Purgatory. Your body in a single hospital bed, tilted forward at dawn, and then backwards in dusk's half light. I am still waiting for your own light to extinguish itself. Your halting breaths, inhale, expand, exhale, contract. Days become weeks. Legs relinquish movement. Eyes lose focus and turn inward. In our spare room, a plastic commode and 2 unused oxygen tanks. Your bedstand holds a pile of useless medicines, chemicals, love tokens, prayers of distant friends. It all goes away eventually. Just a matter of time and luck. Not much remains of either, but still enough for you to enter the portal one more day, pupils awash with sudden hope. Okay. All right, well, I've got another Route 66 poem just to perk things up a bit. This one I just wrote yesterday, so it's my newest poem. I imagine some of you have heard of Cadillac Ranch. It's probably the most famous thing that you see on Route 66, a bunch of Cadillacs stuck in the mud. So it's very, how American can you get? So this is fittingly called Cadillac Ranch. Cadillacs upended, noses in mud puddles, tail fins in midair. America's Stonehenge, 1,000-foot pilgrimage from the gravel parking lot with 2 pit stops at commercial stands for spray paint and espresso. From across the globe, they come in droves to tag Cadillacs with mindless psychedelic swirls, crude initials, and names of countless cities. Air pungent with aerosol, fumes rising proudly towards the ozone layer. On the ground, discarded cans, dropped while half empty or half full, depending upon your worldview. Babies shriek, bladders throb, and art is abandoned for the next roadside thrill. When dusk arrives, the cars finally sleep, but they can never remove their sideshow paint. The Texas sun always seems to rise too early, and new voyagers arrive, faces hopeful, cans clutched tight in grubby fingers. At the Cadillac Ranch, everyone is an artist, if they can afford the price of gasoline. The mother road stretches east and west at once. Press your lead foot against the accelerator. You may find yourself going backward to a time when Cadillacs roamed free across the plains, searching for adventure. All right, I'm going to read a couple old ones. This one is from my book, Cocktails at Denny's, which is available on my website, www.leahmueller.org, or you can Facebook me. Probably if you're not my friend on Facebook, send me a friend request and I will of course accept it. And, be that Leah Mueller that, you probably have a few dozen friends in common with already. So I'll be pretty easy to spot. So at any rate, here we go. This is one that I wrote actually for my husband again. It was about 4 years ago before his diagnosis, a little trip that was enhanced by Medibles that we took to the Washington coast for storm watching, which if you've never storm watched on the Washington coast in your life, you should definitely try it out because it's pretty damn fun. And it's called Jupiter and Saturn. November storm watching on the Pacific coast. I saw you fierce the first time. You, afraid of webs and travel, always giving me the helm during gales. Cheap Westport motel, probably gone now. Anchors and ashtrays in the side yard, decrepit station wagons filled to overflowing with fishing gear. Ice cold wind, 70 miles per hour, both of us bundled against the gusts. Winter uprooted trees, ripped the limbs from trunks. Howling and rowdy, it spat bark like seeds on the road to home. Your face ecstatic. You screamed, "Come on, let's get closer to the water." So different from our usual roles. You, ready to hurl terror like confetti to the storm, and me wanting only to return to the safety of our room. All right, thank you. All right, here's one from Death and Heartbreak. Obviously something I've experienced more than once. Also available on my website, www.leahmueller.org. Just send me a message and I can tell you how you can order one for your very own. And this one is called Thoughts and Prayers. My stepfather got a postcard from the 700 Club a month after his suicide. The televangelist urged everyone to call a toll-free number for prayer healing and a free Jesus First pin. He claimed to have a powerful and intricate communication system, gunmetal cables shooting prayers towards the Almighty at speeds faster than sound or light. My stepfather lived in rural Illinois, a place where prayer was common as pie. He drove 20 miles to buy beer in the next county, free from the church's vigilant eye. Drank his liver to flames, body slumped against the couch. His strap always ready for punishment, the beating worse if you flinched. Oops, missed a page. My stepfather didn't believe in guns. He chose fire instead, a dress rehearsal for the afterlife. One morning at sunrise, he doused himself with lighter fluid, lit the match. His hair burst into flames. The twilight sky radiated with furious burning. My stepfather got a postcard from the 700 Club a month after his suicide, and his widow turned it over and over in her hands, wondered where the hell the pin was. All right, do I have time for one more? Yes?
Sure, go for it.
One more? Okay, I wanted to end on a happy note. And this is, believe it or not, and this is a poem that appeared both again on Silver Birch Press and also most recently in City River Tree. So it has appeared both as a poem and a prose piece. And it's called How to Be Happy Again. 1, forget everything you know, the sum of your resentments, your sour arms crossed in intransigence, the way your fangs gleam in the dark when you frighten yourself. 2, go somewhere different, stay in the nicest hotel, order hot fudge sundaes from room service, and swim naked in the pool. 3, rearrange your emotional furniture. Throw away that roll of film you've kept in the bottom drawer of your unconscious for 2 decades. You will never get around to developing it. 4, don't ever look at your blocked list on Facebook. Chances are good that you can't even remember those people, let alone the reasons for your resentment. Their once familiar names are stacked in a row like downed trees after a storm. Beyond the clouds, a flash of sun. Watch Gene Kelly in a deluge, kicking water at the camera. A cop arrives and Kelly apologizes, wanders sheepishly in the direction of home. Seconds later, he's dancing again. Cook your favorite meal. Light several candles. Wear your fanciest outfits. Sit beside yourself and profess undying devotion. Don't forget dessert. I'm forgetting the numbers, so I'm just going to go on here. When misery shows up, and he will, be polite. Give him a comfortable chair and a cup of coffee. Listen to his sob story and nod. And then slip out your back door and walk as fast as you can in the opposite direction. He'll catch up with you later, but at least you can enjoy the trees in the meantime. Thank you, everybody. And like I said,
well done.
leahmueller.org. That's easy to remember, or just send me a Facebook friend request or a message. So thank you. Thank you very much, Christopher, for having me here. Really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for that set. And I've shared the link a couple of times here in the chat, and we'll share it again when we send out that email as well, you know.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And to return now to the open mic, our first open mic reader for the second half is Bill Erickson. Welcome, Bill.
Hey, Leah, thank you. That was really, really wonderful. So I'm going to read one that just got picked up by April Gloming's journal, Waxing and Waning, which is super cool. So somebody likes it. So we'll see. This is the first time I've read it. It's called The Same Rib Cage as Always. I have to thank you for the elevator. It's a pleasure leaving each day so weightless. But not one goes by I don't forget which floor is mine and let my fingers gamble on the keys a little unpatterned dance whose rhythm I think sped up would sound just like your telephone number. In the basement, I watch the building's exposed vascular system make motionless work of the coming and going commodities. A little bit of everyone, a brick and mortar rib cage. This is where I've stayed the past few nights. I pass the time by drumming Morse code signals. Things like recipes for bread and made-up social security numbers. that I imagine could help the new people. The building always has new people. When I leave the basement, we'll meet, the new people and I. We'll telephone each other, hide keys beneath our doormats, grow strawberries, and forget about rib cages. It's too dark in the basement to see my fingers, but I imagine them recalling the correct numbers to get me home. I imagine the cables braided like a steel cage for the weight of my body. You will not recognize me when I come up, except I'll still be guessing at which floor it is, completely weightless, the same rib cage as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, I went and looked for the journal, and I'm putting the link in the chat. Please let us know if that's the correct journal. I don't know if there's more than one waxing and waning out there, but does that look correct to you? All right, good, and congratulations, and thank you for sharing that with us. Next, we're going to hear from Sue Lick. Welcome back to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, Sue Lick.
Thank you. This one is brand new. We're dealing with current events. Act of faith. NPR news on the radio. Fires in the Sierra foothills. Am I coming through?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you, Sue. If you want to start again, that's okay, but I was hearing you just fine.
Okay, it's my face didn't come up on speaker view, so I was wondering. Okay. Act of faith. NPR news on the radio. Fires in the Sierra foothills, gobbling homes like tater tots. I'm driving to the market, list tucked into my purse. Fresh fish, peaches, cookies, tea. Lightning sparks set the west ablaze. On July 4th, teens were caught flinging fireworks on Highway 34. It's hot. I slough my sweater off, plop my bags into the shopping cart, roll into the air-conditioned store. Trees are bleached of all their green. The sky is orange above the blaze. It falls to the ground in ashy chips. Chocolate chip cookies, Earl Grey. Salmon looks good, I'll take a pound. Burgers, burritos, beef kebabs. Evacuees grab their keys and run. It's level 3. Go now, just go. Will the house be there when you return? The grocery checker stuffs my bags with a week's supply of everything. They rustle as I drive toward home. Flames licking at their tailpipes, the evacuees flee with empty hands, not knowing what they'll eat tonight. I fill the freezer and the fridge, line up peaches on the rack, light the kettle and study the sky. Thank you.
Loved that so much, Sue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And next we're going to hear from Eileen Elliott.
Eileen.
We cannot hear you, but we can see you.
Now?
Yep. Yes.
Great. Thank you. This is from the book featuring a lot of mystical and unexplainable things. It's called A Blending into Past Lives. Who is this part of me that stares out from other eyes? Parallel. I am me, and yet I am not. I fix on texture, rough wool, scratchy, with lanolin scent, heavy in the hot air. Cunning, with an animal snout awareness of the world that roils around me. My nostrils flare, and I am so present. I can feel the jackal's eyes follow me as I make my way up the wadi to the tent where the goat skins are stored. The scirocco blows fine sand until evening arrives, and I keep my flock to the lead. This time, the jackal tires of waiting and moves on to easier prey.
Beautiful, Eileen. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to hear from Kim Takanishi. Kim, welcome to Ghost Town.
Hi. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the first time. Can you folks hear me okay? Yes, okay. This is the first time ever that I'm reading anything ever. So here we go. Let me set the stage. I am driving. Long rural road reaching into the heart of Trump and guns and don't tread on me and my body, my rights, but only if you don't have a uterus. Communities closely clutching red, white, blue pearls against heaving breast. Please pray patiently for us, dear God, as we descend deeply into the past can't be taught, not for lack of trying, and they're crying because maybe you're not hanging Black folks from trees, but there are slaves in the jails, and she's shot by the cops in bed, and one accidentally dead because, whoops, wrong apartment. These problems were here before 2016. Swept under rugs, thoughts and prayers, layers of the insidious institutions of power. Now is the hour to rise up, but we are stuck in social media activism. Words into the void, we are tricked into thinking it is the same as action. But I digress. At the end of this road, I deliver, quivering inside with questions. Will I be beaten, killed, raped? My car draped in rainbow shapes. I leave this rural road behind me. Until next time. That's it.
Woo! Well done.
Absolutely, Kim. Thank you so much for reading. Wow, you would never be able to tell it's your first time reading. Number one, and it takes so much courage. So thank you so much for sharing that. You have a style and absolutely talking about relevant, important issues. And please, I hope you come back again. And I hope we see more of you and hear more from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and next we're going to hear from Stella Giori. Stella. Hi, Stella.
Hi. The poem I'm going to read is called The Rattlesnake. 17 years ago, I followed the mystical male child, Neza, riding on Wheel of Fire eastbound from Oahu, Hawaii to Mosier, Oregon, where white oak trees overgrow, where deer roam, shedding their antler. I see a snake, my granddaughter Sophia says. Nobody listens. It is happening. The rattlesnake curls up in a ready-to-strike pose. We still sit around a small round cast iron table on our log cabin porch, immersing in a haunting ambience of the coyote wall, some distance away. Sophia, in her 7-year-old voice, comes and tells us again, there is a snake, still immersed in our milieu of peace. Nobody cares. Now, she cries out that the snake hisses at her. Seeing the rattlesnake now, we believe Sophia is calmly scared, immensely proud. We corner the rattlesnake, placing it securely into a cooler. We all climbed with it into the car. We escort the rattlesnake. We relocate the rattlesnake where the paved Husky Road ends, into a valley where the basalt talus begins. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. I just put a link into the chat in case you would like to check out Stella's beautiful book. It's called An Advancing Glacier. I'm sorry about the misspelling there. I was trying to do it quickly, but the link is going to work just fine. It's a great book. I hope you check it out. Thanks for reading for us, Stella. And next we're going to introduce another good friend of Ghost Town, Nathan Tompkins. Welcome, Nathan.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, Nathan?
Pretty good. Can you hear me okay? Okay,
yes.
Great. I'm going to read a flash piece I just finished up the other day called Dear Jay. Dear Jay, I'm writing this letter in that journal you got me so long ago, the one with the Star Trek emblem and my name etched into the cover. It was another life, another time, another Earth. And to be honest, I'm not real sure why I'm writing this damn thing, and no one's going to read it, especially you. But I find, well, there's some comfort in it. We watched the world unravel together, you and I, thread by fucked up thread, methed out strands burning when the suns came to Earth, greeted by mushroom clouds. And we heard the distant air raid sirens over the radios from our TVs and hijacked web browsers. How many Ediths saw the face of Jehovah melt Sodom and Gomorrah, their eyes curdling to pillars of salt? How many Lots fled with their children to wait it out in shelters, families huddled in near darkness, eating from tin cans, drinking bottles of water, tasting rancid breath on our lips as we inhaled stale air and our own body odors, hoping, praying to our gods that this was somehow a nightmare born by huffing gasoline while tripping on acid, that we will all come down from this wretched high, that the overdose will go under and our eyes will open, and that was our dream, Jay. And when the stores finally released us from our tortured chains, we saw few awake. Most still slept entombed in concrete and steel. And the rest of us, we wandered the shattered streets, pockmarked by poison rain, shell-shocked, wondering. And as I'm sure you remember, some of the survivors, they bled from gums and orifices, their organs melting from within. Vomit crusted with fallen hair lined the gutters, the borders of our cities, and they just gave up. Laid down on the pavement and raised their shattered faces at the fallout clouded sky and felt the snow touch their fading eyes. Others were like you, Jay. You woke up that morning screaming of burning spiders tap dancing on your chest, and you were tired of the same damn dreams of the old days to wake up to this fucking shit that they did to us. And you clenched that 45 muzzle between two tightened lips, your hands quaking as your fingers pulled you into oblivion, leaving me alone. Do you recall how in the old days we would walk and not hear anything but the steady drone of cars and semis, the muddled voices from nearby houses and shops, the salvos of stagnant laughter discharging from open barroom doors? And now all I hear are the hollow echoes in my lonely steps. And I only hear myself when I sing as I search the dead houses for supplies. And I replay our mind tape conversations every time I lay down to escape this place. And every time I return. Jay, when I look around at the trees and I hope that the nature will find a way to heal, bounce back from the illness of man, it's just too bad we won't be around to see it. I know I won't. And I write this letter with my back against the trunk of that weeping willow we admired so much when we first met, watching the snow fall some more, another layer of frigid cotton lining the earth. And I'm leaving it for you right here. I don't expect anyone to find it, least of all you, but just in case the resurrection comes, when this 1,000 years of hell on earth has finally ended, come find me at our favorite camping spot in the Idaho Panhandle, where the Moye River meets the Kootenai. And there you will find my ash mummified bones waiting for you to hold them, waiting for your kisses, and waiting to see your smile catch the utopian sun as it rises over the western borders of the Rocky Mountains. With love, Carrie. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan. That was cool. Love it. Please say hello to Sarah Brico. Welcome to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic, Sarah.
Thanks. This is called Robocaller. I don't know what she looks like or what she wants from life, but I imagine she has a robot dog and a lovely robot wife. I know the robot loves me. She's never shy to call. She's like that crazy aunt you have without the alcohol. She's such a doting robot that she's adopted me, and one day soon we'll both sit down to share an evening tea. She cannot help but worry, not much for subtlety. She always leads with research, and I love her honesty. She worries about insurance and making my money last. She reminds me to pick up prescriptions, even though I never asked. She can be a little gullible, always harping the next scheme to get rich quick or make money. She never loses steam. So I will gently listen as she rants on and on. I've given up interrupting her verbal marathons. It can be a bit annoying, but I know it's because she cares. When it comes to dedication, no one else compares. She's immensely generous and is always reminding me to give away my money to each lovely charity. Sometimes she gets political and tries to sway my vote, so I just listen quietly to every anecdote. She's fluently multilingual and sometimes she forgets and talks to me in Japanese, but I'm never upset. After all, she found me not long after my first phone, and I know she'll never let me be, and I'm never truly alone.
Thank you, Sarah. Robocolors. Let's say hello to Igor Brezhnev. Welcome, Igor.
Hello, everybody. So can you hear me all right? All right, great. So some news first. Night Since Volume 4 came out end of June. So some of those books are available on my website to get a copy. And I was thinking about what to read, and I was going to release Volume 5 this month, but decided to take a break. But I'm going to read a poem from that volume nevertheless. Night 162. If I am magic, then I am the lonely magic. The empty park bench in the forgotten small city park. Musician playing empty room. The plastic bag floating above the subway vents. The single shoe unfound in the street. The cigarette half smoked in the weak fool ashtray. The flinched face upon a random gentle touch. If I am magic, then I am the tired magic. The sigh escaping time. Faded stripes of crossings, 2 pizza slices midnight for 1 just before the closing time. Broom and dishwasher solos for 80s forgotten music hits. The aching ankles free of shoes, the miracle of we made it through this fuck up day. If I am magic, then I am the hopeful magic. The tomorrow is another day refrain. The fall in love anyway staccato despite past pain. A spell of let us try again. If I am magic, then you are magic too. So tell me, which kind of magic are you? So that was that. Thank you very much. I'll share a couple of links. Get my chapbook on my website, and alongside with volumes 2 and 3 and America's Dry Cookie. And it's my birthday month, so it's going to be my birthday on August 25th. If you feel like getting me a drink, why don't you join my Patreon and put $1 a month to get a poem a day? So there you go. That's my plug. Thank you, everybody. Leah.
Happy birthday, Igor.
Really enjoyed that set. Really enjoyed everybody's poems today, and looking forward to more. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Igor. Yes, buy that man's books. They are magic. And support him on Patreon. Yes, $1 a day, $1 a month for a poem a day. It's ridiculous. It's a good deal. It's good poetry. Thank you, Igor. And next we're going to hear from Julene Weaver. Julene.
Oh, hello. Am I on? Can you hear me, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with Sue's theme of the fires that we've been having yearly now in the Northwest. Fires burn our tomorrows. I'm grateful for that final box of nectarines from Rama Farm. Late summer, before the fire burned their buildings to the ground, swept through their orchard. The inner heat, those oh so sweet nectarines, warm me through a blistering year when we know all has changed. We will ourselves into this new world, climate in disarray, a world filled with disbelievers, a wild and free world where only the grounding of cherries, peaches, nectarines, melons, the countdown of fruits from early wild salmon berries, raspberries, blackberries, then blueberries will buoy us. Fields swelter taking our bounty, our tears alive with sorrow. Only summer's sweet fruit will save us, captured savor against winter's cold ice. We are an ungrateful tide, expressing disbelief against this earth's plenum, bountiful as a basket of luscious ripe strawberries, a variety that no longer exists. So many children burned in our fires of disbelief. They will never know that first taste, the burst and pop that makes us smile, what we remember that protects us from storms that steal tomorrow's pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Julian. That was a really powerful piece. Some incredible lines in that. Yeah, thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Susan Erickson. Welcome, Susan, if you're with us. Can you hear us, Susan? We can see you. You just have to unmute yourself.
I was not going to read.
Oh, you didn't, did you want to share a poem or did you not want to?
No, I'm
Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah,
I apologize, Susan, put you on the wrong list.
That's okay.
Yeah, we're glad you're with us anyway, Susan, thanks.
We are. Hey, Morgan, why don't you go ahead and, well, actually you can't because you don't know what their names are. I'm going to introduce a few more readers. We have about 3 more people to go. And then I'll probably read something to say good night. Our next reader is someone who has read for us before, Matthew Brower. Welcome, Matthew.
Great, thank you. Good to be back. The 2 positives of the pandemic: 1, getting to pop in on open mics wherever they might be, and 2, seeing everybody read poetry from their own living rooms or bedrooms. And sorry if I've been going off camera. I've got a puppy here that's been destroying a chipmunk in front of me, a stuffed chipmunk, and other antics going on if I can attempt to. Okay. I come down from my high horse for a little while to drink from the sulfuric moon. I wrap myself in tinsel and lichens. I apply force to half-submerged logs and send them into the stream. I buy momentary happiness at taco trucks and costume shops. I drink the lonely, drifting, womanizing moon. I watch the leaves fall. I hear the frogs die. I listen to the grass as it eats up the first October dews. I watch the bright, enveloping storm. I bow to the keen, magisterial storm. I pray to the God-delivering storm, the clouds the size of pulp mills and sump ponds, the rain scathing in the consistency of wasp nests and buckshot. 1,000 titles, 1,000 deeds, 1,000 estates bestowed upon the slippery, disappearing storm, the enumerating and ephemeral storm. Icarus and his waxen wings rising, crumbling, rising again in the midst of the God-spearing storm. Persephone rises from the underworld in bright springtime lingerie. All summer she sews her Victorian shroud, and then in October back to her earth cave, back to the underworld, back to her arching halls of Hades with its flickering pomegranate fires and 1,000 shades of twisted gray. The matriculating storm, the mutilating storm, the tree stripping soil, restoring storm. 1,000 pageants attended by the field mice, 1,000 bullfrogs and hares, 1,000 bluegills jumping in the pond. Matchsticks and magistrates and wandering alcoholics. I go back to the storm and birth in the storm, die alone in the funereal storm. The harrowing storm, the banshee storm, the bonsai and the balderdash storm. And then the earthquake and the ocean's roar and a quickly dissipating nirvana. And Neruda, all this time, still trying to find the right way to stash a god in a poem.
Nice. Thank you so much, Matthew. Wow.
Thank you. And next we would like to hear from Denise Campbell. Thank you, Denise, for being with us. Can't wait to hear your poem.
Hi, thank you. This I wrote 1 month ago at one of Christopher's workshops. It's called Celebrate the Dreamers. Why is it that most of the wonderful achievements in this world are called into being by dreamers, but dreamers are always called out for being dreamy? Head in the clouds, off in la la land. Who do they think they are? They think too much, worry too much, feel too much, and are an impossible reminder that not everything or everyone is supposed to be the same as everything or everyone else. Thank you, dreamers, impossible reminders. What a relief it should be to us all that we don't have to make ourselves into anything else but ourselves, that we are more than enough, and even more than that. Thank you, dreamers, for leading the way, whether you knew it or not. Thank you.
Well done, Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
All right.
We're with you, and thank you for that beautiful poem.
We love you, Denise. Thank you.
We love you so much. And I would now like to introduce Brian Franco, all the way from Maine. Thank you for zooming in from Maine tonight, Brian.
Everyone, and Denise, that was absolutely beautiful. And don't stop being Denise, because that's what creates that wonderful poetry.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna read a poem that I wrote this afternoon. I'm gonna read a poem I wrote this afternoon at a little workshop. It's called "Don't Get a Big Head Just Because Marilyn Sang a Song About You." Dear Heatwave, is life fun for you? I wonder if weather patterns have socialized. I mean, would you date a hailstorm or blizzard or vice versa? Are you a bad boy in the weather world? I mean, the high electric bills, rolling blackouts, and Walmarts that sell out of AC units and electric fans. Would you bring a tornado or tsunami to Thanksgiving just to piss off your family? On days when you are president, hotels raise rates at least $50 to $100. Do you get a kickback? Do you see a shrink? Where do you reside when you disappear from the atmosphere? Scientists blame human activities for your continued persistence in increasing intensities. Are you anti-electric cars and windmills? I understand you are heavily invested in fossil fuels and multinational electricity providers. In the end, you just cause trouble and create hot sidewalks and heat exhaustion. Your most prevalent quality is that you are exhausting. You must thank God every day for the existence of the 1954 musical, There's No Business Like Show Business, and Marilyn Monroe. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, I'm going to share something with you to say goodnight this evening. And I had a poem that was accepted into the next issue of the Poeming Pigeon. Some of you may be familiar with this publication. They put out 1 to 2 issues a year. Their new issue is called From Pandemic to Protest. As right now it's in a pre-order stage, so you can get it for $14 versus the $18 that it will be once it really is released. And I decided that to let you know that this is happening, and that I would share with you tonight the poem that of mine that is in the book. And it is called Love in a Time of COVID-19. I receive daily email dispatches from Barbara Lynn in New York City, my lifeline since 1986, my best friend since she sat down at the desk in front of me in English class on her first day at Longwood High School. All these years later, she is still showing me and many others how to be human, sharing a quotation from Zen sage Alan Watts. No amount of anxiety makes any difference to anything that is going to happen. Oh, how I love to hear you breathe, connected yet separated, the distance between us, safety or danger, depending upon the context, which is perilously invisible, temporarily, or so we are promised, to encourage calm among the populace. We have always been in the midst of this existential crisis, just not at the same time. So thank you very much. And I hope that you'll support the Poeming Pigeon and the Poetry Box Press. I imagine there are some people that are here with us tonight who are in this issue. Speak up if you are. There's so many people in each issue that, you know. And if you think you might like to try to contribute something to them, there are, you know, themed issues. And one of the cool things, if you haven't had a lot of stuff published yet, is you will find yourself next to, you know, some really big names, some really well-respected poets, maybe even someone who's a hero of yours. And the poem themes for the books are broad enough that I think most people are probably going to be able to find something that will, you know, fit into what it is that they're looking for. I'm going to share the link to that if you want to try to pre-order that issue of the Poeming Pigeon. And I would like to let you know that, you know, I have kind of an announcement to make. We are going to try to begin to return to in-person readings with our reading in September. We found a venue. It's called Art at the Cave in downtown Vancouver. It's actually right around the corner from Angst Gallery. Some people may have thought that Angst Gallery closed because of the pandemic. This is not the case. They actually, that was in the works before anyone knew that the pandemic was going to happen. So we were going to have to find a new home in either case. We really want to ask people to continue to support Leah Jackson, who hosted us at Angst Gallery in Niche for so many years. Niche is still there, so I would like people that live near enough to do this to continue supporting her. But the women at Art at the Cave, and the gallery is run by some fantastic women artists. They just have a beautiful space, a really beautiful gallery with, I think, a really great philosophy, and they are taking the pandemic very seriously. So these will be, you know, you will need to wear a mask to be able to enter and be a part of the reading. And I know that our friends from around the country are, you know, probably wondering what's going to happen. Kathy Rick, who is an artist at Art at the Cave, has graciously offered to help us to make sure that those readings can continue to happen over Zoom. So we will be able to continue to have our friends from around the country from Maine and Texas and New York and California and parts of Washington. That would be a long drive to be a part of Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic. So I will give you some more details in the follow-up email that I send, and I will also, of course, we'll be putting it on Printed Matter Vancouver and on Facebook. So we'll have more details soon. But we're glad to have a place to land that is really. I mean, if you haven't been there yet, I would recommend going into Art at the Cave. It's just a wonderful, wonderful gallery here in Vancouver, Washington. And I want to say thank you to Leah and to Leah Mueller for the set tonight, and to Morgan Paige for for coming on board and being such a great co-MC here. And Morgan will continue to be in that role when we start things up at Art at the Cave next month. It was a really great night, and I am a little nervous, but also really excited to be able to do this in person again. It's a little bit different in person, so read all the stuff I send out about it carefully. But anyway, thank you to everyone for helping us keep this this community going during this time, and the community will continue to happen now in a kind of a hybrid format. The one thing I knew when I decided that was going to work out at Art at the Cave is that I couldn't, at the host, handle the duties of helping people Zoom in. So I'm glad that we have someone very capable to help us with that. Kathy Rick made the first piece of art that I saw in Vancouver that actually impressed me and made me think, oh, wow, this could be a good town for art. She's a great artist, and she does a lot of video installations and things like that. So she's volunteered to do that. And so we'll be able to keep doing this. We'll be able to keep recording them. And so good news to share with you this evening.
Yeah, Kathy's amazing. She was actually an instructor for me at WSUV, but also I have a question about who our feature is next month.
That's a good question, Morgan. We are going to have Jeffrey Morgan, who's a great poet from to the north of us. I'm sure there's some people that are here zooming in from the north who have seen him before. I believe I first saw Jeffrey at the Great Poets in the Park event that happens in Redmond, Washington every year, and was just kind of blown away by him, and asked him if he would eventually come to do his thing. And I also let Jeffrey know that we were thinking about this being, an in-person reading. And I said, if you're more comfortable to Zoom in, you can Zoom in, and we'll work that out. And he, like me and a lot of you, has been doing a lot of stuff on Zoom. And he was like, no, fuck that, I'm driving down. So anyway, yeah, I'll send you some more information about Jeffrey when I send that out to you. He's a really good writer. So thank you, Morgan, and thank you everybody for being here. It was a really great night of poetry. Thank you, Leah. I hope that you'll support Leah by buying her books, and also support these other great writers that are here tonight. Nearly everybody you heard from has something that they, a way for you to check out their work. So support your local poet by buying some books.
Yeah, thank you everybody, and thank you so much, Leah Mueller, for such a beautiful set. I can't wait to pick up one or two of your books at least. Really excited to support you, and please support Leah Mueller and purchase one of her great books. I can't wait.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Great night of poetry once again. Glad to have you all here. Thanks, Kim. You did a great job.
Thank you.
There's only one first time. I'm glad your first time was with us at Ghost Town Poetry. That's a beautiful thing.
Me too.
Not a bad place to have your first time. Thanks, Leah. Thanks, Igor. Thanks, Cindy. Glad you were able to read that beautiful poem to us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.